7 Wonders of Oregon. Oregon has many beautiful places. There are tall mountains, small hills, and unusual caves. There are green forests and brown deserts. There is the Pacific Ocean. There are also lakes, rivers, waterfalls, and much more. Mount Hood. Mount Hood is a famous place to visit in Oregon. You can see the mountain from many places in the state. It is about 50 miles from Portland. You can drive from the city to the mountain in about 1 hour. Many people climb the mountain every year, almost as many people as Mount Fuji in Japan. Mount Hood is 11,249 feet tall. It is the highest mountain in Oregon. It is actually a dormant sleeping volcano. The mountain has 12 glaciers. It is always covered in ice and snow. People can ski all year long. Timberline Lodge is at 6,000 feet. It is a beautiful place to go skiing or hiking. Some people like to rest by the fire and enjoy the view of the mountain. The roads around Mount Hood are called the Fruit Loop. There are many farms and fruit orchards. They grow apples, peaches, pears, blueberries, cherries, and other fruits. There are also many lakes near Mount Hood. Visitors like to go camping and fishing at Trillium Lake, Lost Lake, and Mirror Lake. The air is fresh, and everything is beautiful. Native American people call the mountain Wyeast. They have many stories about the mountain. In the story, 2 brothers, Wyeast and Klickitat, love the same woman, Lou Witt. The brothers fight a lot. The Great Spirit wants to stop the fight. The Great Spirit changes the brothers into mountains. One brother becomes Mount Hood in Oregon. The other brother becomes Mount Adams in Washington. The beautiful woman becomes Mount St. Helens. Crater Lake. Crater Lake National Park is in southern Oregon. 8,000 years ago, Crater Lake was a very tall mountain. It was 1,000 feet taller than Mount Hood. Scientists gave it the name of Mount Mazama, but Native Americans called it Moyaina. This means big mountain. How did a mountain become a lake? The mountain was a volcano. There was a big explosion, and the volcano erupted. The top of the mountain fell. It made a large hole. Later, the hole filled with water from rain and snow. The water is very clear, and the lake is very deep, 2,000 feet. It is the deepest lake in the United States. Crater Lake is a very special place for Native Americans. They have many stories about the lake and the mountain. In one story, a spirit named Yao came from the below world to Mount Mazama, before there was a lake. He saw Aloha. She was the daughter of a chief of the Klamath people. Yao fell in love with Aloha, but she didn't like him. Yao became angry. He tried to burn the Klamath people by throwing fire from a hole in the mountain. Several medicine men went to the mountain. They gave themselves to Yao. They wanted to make Yao happy again. But the spirit from the above world told them to stop. The spirit fought Yao. It pushed Yao back into a hole in the mountain. Then blue water flowed out of the hole. It filled the top of the mountain. It made a beautiful lake, and this lake was very special for the Klamath people. It was a place where many Native Americans went to pray. Oregon coast. Imagine, the year is 1913. Oregon is a young state. It is only 54 years old. Railroads are bringing more people to the Oregon coast. Some are only visitors on vacation. Others, however, want to buy land next to the ocean. It is a race to see and build new things. What will happen? Soon, the state government says the entire ocean shore from Washington to California is public land. The state builds Highway 101. This highway is 363 miles long. The state also builds dozens of parks along the road. Tourism grows more and more, faster and faster. Some citizens complain. They want to own the land themselves. They want to make money. They want private hotels, not public beaches. In 1967, however, the state government approves the Oregon Beach Bill. It is a new law that says all wet sand along the coast belongs to the state. The Oregon Beach Bill lets all people use the beaches for free. This law protects Oregon beaches. There are few buildings along the water. Instead, there are parks, paths, and golf courses. Horse riding, clam digging, and surfing are popular activities. There are many old lighthouses. Visitors also like to go hiking, camping, fishing, and riding bicycle. Much of the coast is rough and rocky. Other parts are different. Often there are sandy beaches. One special place has very large dunes. Dunes are large waves of sand made from wind and water. However, one thing is the same: the Oregon coast belongs to all of the people. Thanks to the Oregon Beach Bill, everyone can enjoy the Oregon coast. Painted Hills. The Painted Hills are in eastern Oregon. The hills get their name from the stripes of color in the ground. Visitors see different kinds of earth. The layers of dirt and rock are various shades of yellow, gold, black, and red. The Painted Hills are part of a larger area called the John Day Fossil Beds. We find a lot of fossils in land that we call a fossil bed. A fossil is part of an animal or plant from thousands of years ago. You can see the shape of the animal in the rock. Scientists can study 40,000 fossils from Oregon. They are cousins of elephants, horses, camels, and rhinoceroses from long ago. Some fossils are 50 million years old. The history of this place is hard to believe. Long ago, Oregon was hot, wet, and almost tropical. The weather was like Costa Rica or Veracruz, Mexico. There were palm trees, bananas, and avocados. It rained more than 80 inches per year. But then Oregon changed. Later, there was a lot of grass. There were many oak and maple trees. Today, the Painted Hills are very dry. This part of Oregon receives only 9 to 16 inches of water each year. Most of this water comes from snow. Today, the animals in the area are mostly birds. There are more than 50 kinds of birds here. You might also see elk, deer, and cougars. There are beaver, otter, mink and raccoons near the river. Sometimes there are coyotes, bats, and badgers too, and small animals like rabbits and mice. People sometimes worry that there are snakes, but they are shy and scared of people. Smith Rock. Do you like rock climbing? Smith Rock is in the high desert of Central Oregon. It is a very popular park. People like to climb its rocky cliffs and towers. It has 623 acres, and there are many animals, such as eagles, mountain lions, and deer. Some visitors to this park believe that the first animal they see is their spirit animal. This idea came from Native American people. Some believe animals have special powers. A spirit animal guides a person through life. It keeps them safe. Rock climbing can be exciting and a little dangerous. Smith Rock has many paths to climb. Some paths are easy. Others are difficult. Many paths are bolted. This means there are metal loops in the rocks. You attach your ropes to the bolts. This helps you climb easily and safely. The weather in Central Oregon is good for outside activities. There is sun 300 days of the year. There is very little rain. The temperature is nice in the summer. Visitors also play golf. They explore caves. They can play in the Deschutes River or ski on Mount Bachelor. Some people ride bikes on mountain trails or scenic bikeways, roads only for bikes. Smith Rock is very busy in the summer. Parking is difficult. The trails are crowded. The park suggests, wear good shoes, bring water, stay on the trails, keep dogs under control. People should always remember the famous rule for visiting parks. Take only photographs and leave only footprints. Columbia River Gorge. The Columbia River Gorge separates the states of Oregon and Washington. The word gorge is another name for a canyon. It is a deep valley between hills or mountains. A gorge usually has high walls and a river running through it. The Columbia River Gorge is 4,000 feet deep in some places. It is 80 miles long. It starts at the Deschutes River in the east. It ends near Portland in the west. There is a road on each side of the river. There is also a railroad on one side. It is very windy in the gorge. Winds are often 35 miles per hour. In the summer, people like to go windsurfing near the city of Hood River. Windsurfing uses a surfboard and a sail. It's also a good place to fly a kite. In the winter, there are many snowstorms and ice storms. Sometimes roads in the Columbia River Gorge are closed because travel is dangerous. One special place is called Crown Point. It is a small park about 15 miles from Portland. An old road climbs to 733 feet above the river. Visitors can see miles up and down the river. Another important place is called the Bridge of the Gods. Long ago, falling rocks made a natural dam in the Columbia River. Humans crossed the river on the rocks. Later, the river washed away the rocks. Native Americans tell many stories about this place. They say that the gods destroyed the rock bridge because humans fought. Today, the rocks in the river are the Cascades Rapids. This is a dangerous part of the river for boats. The WALLOWAS. The WALLOWAS are mountains in eastern Oregon. The tallest point is called Sacagawea Peak. It is 9,838 feet high. You can see far away from the top. Some say that you can see into the next state. In one direction, you can see the high desert of Oregon. In another direction, you can see past Hell's Canyon. This canyon is deeper than the Grand Canyon. The mountains receive a lot of snow. Sometimes it snows more than 100 inches per year. That is enough for dangerous avalanches. What is an avalanche? A very large piece of snow, ice, and rocks quickly falls down the mountain. There are many interesting things to see and do here. However, there are only a few towns. Some of them are now ghost towns. These towns were busy in the 1800s. People were looking for gold. Now they are empty. This part of Oregon was the home of the Nez Perce. They were Native Americans. However, in 1867, the United States government allowed other people to move here from the east. Those people were called pioneers. Another word for them is settlers. Some traveled 2,000 miles from Missouri on a wagon road called the Oregon Trail. The government took the land from the Native Americans. First, the government divided the land between the settlers and the Nez Perce people. Then the government told the Nez Perce people to leave the valley. There was war, and 125 people died. The government sent the Nez Perce people to a prison in Kansas. Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce people said,
"I am tired of fighting. Our chiefs are killed. It is cold, and we have no blankets. The little children are freezing to death. My people, some of them, have run away to the hills, and have no blankets, no food. No one knows where they are, perhaps freezing to death. I want to have time to look for my children, and see how many of them I can find. Maybe I shall find them among the dead. Hear me, my chiefs. I am tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more forever.